Look, I think Bitcoin is perfect money, and it's the most profound opportunity of the 21st century. And the rich, the powerful, the comfortable, and the arrogant have no need for it. So I think the most beautiful thing about Bitcoin is it's money there for the taking. If you want money, if you need money, if you're willing to take the risk, if you're at the beginning of your life cycle, if you're in your youth, America was a youthful country. If you're a youthful person, a youthful family, a youthful company, if you're an ambitious country, then it's there for the taking.
Before we dive back in, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for the latest crypto insights. The cryptocurrency landscape is undergoing seismic shifts as we approach April 2025. President Trump's recent executive order established a strategic Bitcoin reserve, signaling a monumental shift in governmental policy towards digital assets. This reserve will be capitalized with Bitcoin seized in criminal or civil asset forfeiture proceedings, underscoring Bitcoin's emerging role as a strategic asset. Institutional adoption is accelerating at an unprecedented pace. A recent survey reveals that 83% of financial institutions plan to increase their cryptocurrency allocations this year, with many aiming for digital assets to constitute 5% or more of their portfolios. Companies like Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy, have significantly expanded their Bitcoin holdings, now possessing over 500,000 BTC, reflecting a robust corporate endorsement of Bitcoin's potential. The convergence of artificial intelligence, AI, and blockchain technology is also noteworthy. As AI continues to revolutionize various sectors, Bitcoin's decentralized and secure infrastructure offers a resilient foundation for AI applications, enhancing data integrity and security. However, challenges persist. Despite institutional enthusiasm, global Bitcoin adoption among the general population remains at about 4%, indicating significant room for growth. Additionally, geopolitical factors, such as North Korea's accumulation of Bitcoin through cyber activities, add complexity to the global crypto landscape. As Michael Saylor, a prominent Bitcoin advocate, often emphasizes, these developments could herald the next big wave for Bitcoin. April 2025 is poised to be a pivotal month with institutional momentum and technological advancements potentially driving Bitcoin to new heights. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into these trends with Michael Saylor, insightful interview, and explore why Bitcoin is increasingly viewed as the asset of the future. Let's get back to the video.
I can't really tell you, and the beauty is Satoshi gave sovereign money, which means that the rights of a cab driver in Nigeria are just as powerful as the rights of the United States, in Foggy Bottom. So, will the Bitcoin be claimed by individuals? Will it be claimed by corporations? Will it be claimed by nation states? Will it be claimed by institutions? And the answer is, I don't know, and I think that Satoshi just kind of gave perfect money to the world. Those who can overcome their arrogance, who need it, will see it for what it is, and they will claim it. And then others will be comfortable in their 20th century existence, and they will dismiss it as a nuisance. And, I've said sometime before, the volatility of Bitcoin is a gift to the faithful. The complexity of Bitcoin is a gift to the faithful. Because if it was simple, and if it was non-volatile, someone with more money than you, that's arrogant, that doesn't need the money, would have it all, and you would have none of it. You would have no opportunity. So I think it's in everybody's best interest that it remain a little bit complicated, a little bit volatile, and then the greatest nations of the 22nd century will embrace it. There was a time when the Chinese outlawed explosives and gunpowder, and the Japanese thought that was a good idea too. Right, and it lasted for a while until people that thought that explosives and guns and gunpowder and technology were an okay idea showed up and made them change that. They toppled the governments and they were dragged kicking and screaming into the 20th century.
What is the risk here for nations that not just adopting a policy, that don't actually buy Bitcoin, don't start treating this asset as the commodity, the digital commodity?
Well, I'm an aeronautical engineer, and we design airplanes, and if you create a supersonic airplane, you create a shock wave. Supersonic means the plane is moving faster than the rate at which the air can communicate or get out of the way. So when something is moving too fast, you have turbulence, you have shock wave, you will have a lot of noise. What you're seeing here is the Bitcoin shock wave. This is going so fast, every actor, every money manager, every central bank, every politician is going to be asked the question, why don't you own Bitcoin? And that is indicative of just how much power they have. They're not being asked whether or not they're going to put cobalt in the Swiss national reserves. But I think everybody with a pool of capital is going to be asked by activists in their own country, by activists in their own company, by their shareholders, why aren't you buying Bitcoin? And what you'll see is the world will bifurcate, right? You had an extraordinary, innovative moment in the White House a few weeks ago where what you saw was the president saying, we're going to embrace the future. And the president puts his finger on the world's first digital commodity and identifies it and says, this is not a bad thing, this is a good thing. We're going to own it, we're not going to sell it. We're going to get as much of it as we can get, right? That's a progressive move forward. I think you'll see that. You'll see other countries that'll be regressive. I'm afraid of it. Why are you bothering me? You know, it's a nuisance. But at the end of the day, right, this is no different than embracing, you know, nuclear weapons or explosives or ships or airplanes, right? The powerful and the wealthy and the prosperous will embrace the new technology and overcome their fears. And the regressive will resist it, they'll fall behind, and they'll be impoverished by their lack of vision. It's really important, right, first to identify Bitcoin's a commodity. It's very important to emphasize it's got an immaculate conception, there's no issuer. It's very important to make sure people understand it's digital gold. It's pretty important to understand it's an asset that will enrich us. If you don't get that consensus from the citizens, the taxpayers, and a bipartisan consensus, it's hard to move forward. And I think that they're doing that. So what's going to happen right now is, I think, a very elaborate and very thoughtful political process to build consensus, and consensus building is educating. We see that going on in DC. It's not going to be, I wouldn't be in favor of like one jolt, you know, trying to do everything at the same time, because there's that phrase, you know, if you want to go fast, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together, right? And what we need to do is make sure that we take everybody along, and that's going to be a dialogue between the White House, the Cabinet, Treasury, Commerce, the Senate, the House, the industry, and then all of the major political constituencies on both sides of the aisle.
Well, one of the big questions right now is really how much Bitcoin does America have? Senator Cynthia Lummis coming out and talking about this. We think the United States has 200,000 Bitcoin. But we don't know. There hasn't been an audit. We know that some of these agencies have been conducting sales as they have been historically. You know, what is the impact here if the United States has less Bitcoin than we think we have? What if we don't have 200,000 Bitcoin?
Well, I mean, the only thing we know is we don't have enough, whatever the number is. I think that we'll know more with more transparency in time. Especially this year, I think that we'll put in place pretty good programs for managing digital assets, for managing Bitcoin. Certainly, I think by the end of the year, based upon everything that the president has said. I think that clearly the opportunity is that there's $450 trillion of long-term capital in the world, and it's all invested in 20th century bonds, 20th century real estate, 20th century equity and 20th century artwork and other collectibles. And as the world gets educated, they're going to sell their inferior assets and they're going to convert them into Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin network is going to grow from 2 trillion to 20 trillion to 200 trillion, and then it's going to grow beyond. So the opportunity is buy cyberspace, buy Bitcoin, buy a share of the digital capital of the world, and then let all of the capital from the rest of the world flow into the network and enrich you. Capital from the 20th century in the US. I mean, someone with a warehouse in New Jersey, when it gets to the end of its life, may very well say, instead of renovating the warehouse for another 20 years, I think I'll sell it and buy Bitcoin with it. So 20th century capital will flow into the Bitcoin network, foreign capital will flow in the Bitcoin network, and then these AIs and technology companies are going to create tens and then hundreds of trillions of dollars of value. It will flow into the Bitcoin network. So the opportunity is simply buy it, buy as much of it as you want to own, and then allow the passage of time to enrich you. And then I think the threat is, right, the risk is, don't buy it. How would you feel if your enemy made $80 trillion and owned the network or control the network? The worst case would be they make 80 or 100 trillion, they control the network, they own cyberspace, you don't. And I would say the best analogy, and this is manifest destiny in the United States. When Thomas Jefferson was president, he had an opportunity to buy Louisiana. We didn't have the money, but it's not that complicated. You're on the East Coast and you look west and you think, do I want to allow the French, or do I want the French to sell this to the British, or do I want it to be sold to the Spaniards, or do I want to own it? So we bought it, and then we moved on to take control of and take ownership of Texas, and then the West, and then California. And where would the country be if California was owned by the Spanish and a third of the country was owned by the French, and we had been responsible in not taking risk? And so the answer is, it's the future, right? You may not, you could say, well, I live in New York City. I don't think anybody will ever want to live in St. Louis or San Francisco or LA. It's like a hard wagon ride from here. And you would be right, but you would be wrong. Of course they want to live in San Francisco and LA. You just got to look out far enough. And I would say, I think people in this room know this, but the average of the normie would say, well, wait, I can't live in cyberspace. I can't live in a digital energy network. It's like, well, maybe you can't, but the AI can. The thing that you create that's going to take responsibility for all your family's money, that's going to make you rich, it will live in cyberspace. It will look at you and say, are you crazy? I can do things 1,000,000 times a second perfectly, 1,000,000 times more efficiently there. But you want me to actually, trade copper tokens, at the speed of sound or something, or less than the speed of sound. So the future is there. The economy is going to go there. You can buy it. You can buy it for a nickel. We bought 80% of the United States for $40 million, 80% of the country. And I think there's an equivalent opportunity right now with Bitcoin. So it's something you do it either because it's a good opportunity, or you do it because you wouldn't want your worst enemy to do it to you.
And that's a wrap for today. Now, over to you. What do you think about Michael Saylor's take on the Bitcoin strategic reserve, institutional adoption, and Bitcoin's role in shaping the future of AI and blockchain? Is Bitcoin truly the key to financial inclusivity, or is there more to the story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to see it, and most importantly, subscribe for your daily dose of Bitcoin and crypto trends. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.